The big news this week is Classic Wrath Fresh Realms. This has come out. There's a lot of different news about it, but basically, the first thing that came out is they are planning to do fresh realms for Wrath, and they said for at least 90 days. They're not going to allow character boosts or transfers to the realms. And they've since come in and said, listen, guys, it could be like forever that we don't allow transfers. We're going to watch it. So just initially, what are your guys' thoughts on fresh realms?
I like them personally. I think that the idea behind it is good. I think that giving people a chance, because in my opinion, it only helps and it doesn't really hurt, because these people who are rolling onto fresh realms are people who really want that experience of leveling fresh, right? And if you did that on a server and they didn't allow any fresh servers at all, you would not have people to party with. You would kind of be forced into the boost every time. So I kind of like how they made it so you can have to go through the game. You have to go through the game again, or opt into that experience. But from my perspective, I guess I haven't put it so eloquently. They only gain from doing this, and it's very low effort, and it appeases a group of people who, in my opinion, will probably like that experience, like that leveling experience, and then some of them will stop playing the game because they liked the leveling portion of it, and then the other ones will transfer. So I feel like it's not anything that you like lose here, because if I'm somebody who wants to have that fresh experience, I don't want to feel like I'm behind. Or be forced to roll on a server where I'm going to feel behind. So this just gives people an option. And I feel like having options doesn't really hurt that much, And
I feel like it could be really good for people that didn't invest a lot of time in TBC. Like I've got over 30K gold, and I've got a whole bunch of plans, and there's a lot of in-game stuff like Curator rings and cold weather flying and all this stuff I'm going to buy right off the bat. And so I'm, and I've got 6 characters. I'm going to, I'm not the target for this, but someone who quit maybe TBC during phase 1, I mean, this could be a really cool option, and it is scary, as soon as you can transfer characters over, boom, the economy is no longer what they're quote unquote wanting, but there's going to be bots on that realm, and the economy is going to, it's going to end up being bad too. So
they're only going to allow character transfers if the population starts to go down, right? If people level and it starts to dwindle, or if there's not enough interest, I think that's when they start allowing character transfers. That's why they made it so clear that it may not happen, but it could happen after 90 days if it's not as big as we thought it might be, right?
No.
I think there'd be another interesting idea, though, is allowing Wrath fresh servers that do allow character boosts. And I only say this because I think that there is a decent amount of the population that wants to come back and play Wrath and doesn't necessarily want to come back and play Wrath and compete with everybody that has all this gold saved up and all of these things, but they don't want to come back and play Wrath and level from 1 to 80.
They're here to play Wrath. They ain't here to play Classic or TBC.
Right? If they were there, we're that population that played Classic and TBC, right? They don't want to go through playing Classic, TBC necessarily. I think there's a population that does that as well, right? And so I think it'd be interesting if they had, I don't know, at least one server that did allow character boosts but didn't allow character transfers, and see if that was popular as well.
I think they're experimenting, and I think it's not a bad thing. Yeah.
One concern I do have is, and Scotty J, one of his videos made me think of this, is if they want the servers to be actually correct, these fresh start realms need to come out when Wrath drops, not pre-patch. Because if it comes out in pre-patch, I'm going to play some, and then I'm not going to play later. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to, that are like, oh, I'm going to have a fun time in the fresh start and play, as far as I get. But then, when Wrath hits, I'm going back to my mains. And this could really affect the server populations. Like they might end up opening new servers.
Why would you go level in a classic Wrath server from 1 to 30 during pre-patch? Like what's the enticement there?
Just to level in it's the fresh thing, just to level in an Azeroth that's booming and has a ton of people doing dungeons, ton of people doing everything. Like that sounds fun, but when you
start at level 1, you realize this, right? Like I don't think pre-patch is long enough to make that as enticing as you think it might be.
It's supposed to be. Everybody is thinking it's going to be 4 weeks based on what they've said.
You're saying they release it when Wrath drops, not pre-patch.
Yes, and I think.
And what are you saying, Mel?
I'm saying I don't think there's enough enticement for me to go play in a Wrath Fresh server in pre-patch.
That's you, but I think there's a ton of people that do.
So you're both saying they shouldn't do it at pre-patch.
No, I don't care if they do it at pre-patch. I think it's fine to do it at pre-patch. I think these people that want to play Wrath, they want to play Wrath, especially on a fresh server. I think they want to play Wrath as soon as possible. You launch it at pre-patch and they get that opportunity to start their fresh server. Sure, there might be some extra people going in there. I don't see the like deficit. Like I don't see the consequence of that being negative. I see that being a benefit, right? Like you get people to come into this fresh server and okay, yes, maybe then they leave, but then after 90 days people can transfer, right? So like I don't know.
That's the whole thing. People like these people that want fresh do not want people to be able to transfer.
Well, they will though if they get a fresh server and there's
they don't want people to transfer into them. Right? They don't want gold coming in. I don't think that's going to happen. It would have to be like way too populated or something, or like,
I just wonder because there's been so many people that are saying, well, I'll play it some during pre-patch, but then not after that. And if that happens, they might open up new servers. Then there's a whole bunch of people playing and then it drops off completely. And then those servers are kind of in trouble at that point. Whereas if you just drop it day 1 Wrath, you're only getting the people that really want to play that server for good. That's how I see it.
Okay. I see that. The way I kind of understand that as well, because I was thinking originally, I was like, well, I would want to have something where it's like, hey, pre-patch hits, these are the fresh servers, you can roll on them, get your character to max level, and then you have a challenge of like, how much can you prepare yourself for Wrath of the Lich King before it actually comes out. But I think that isn't as enticing to people who want to play Wrath and will buy Wrath when it comes out, right? They'll buy the subscription then. They're not going to be like, oh, it's TBC final phase pre-patch into Wrath of the Lich King. Now it's time for me to play, but you don't have the same ability, or you have the same abilities and stuff like that, but you won't have like the access to Northrend or any of those things. So you're just like kind of sitting there waiting. And I think a lot of people are going to use the boost if they're just playing for Wrath. If you haven't started preparing, a lot of people are probably just going to use the boost, or you like the leveling, which I'm like, you could then start at any time, like, but so I think
fresh, you can't use the boost.
Yeah.
Though, so
I know. That's why I'm like, they're just going to roll on other servers if they're like new people who aren't doing it.
That could be true too. It could be true.
Yeah. But if it's in pre-patch, then I think the people who are coming for Wrath are probably going to also feel like they're behind. So I think you're right, where the best thing to do is drop it when Wrath happens. Right.
I just feel you get everybody that really wants that fresh experience. And it'd be cool for content too, because you'd be able to watch some crazy races.
Load into Elwyn Forest and just be like, whoa, everybody's here again. We're all here.
Well, yeah. And just day 1, I would probably be watching, like, you're going to get to see everybody clear Nax, world first. But then, as soon as that, few days is over, right? On all the other servers, you'd get to watch this crazy race of everybody going from level 1 all the way through TBC, all the way into Wrath level 80. And then who's going to clear Nax first in those new fresh servers? I think it could be some really neat stuff to watch, and maybe even more hype than all the other servers world first.
Well, it probably will be, because if you think about it, they said that they're gating raids, right? At the start of Wrath. So it's not going to be like TBC, who can get into Groll at level 68, etc., right? Who has 25 people to go. They're releasing them later. Like, I think it's a week or two later.
Oh, really? I didn't see that bit of news. That would be, that would make you feel a lot more relaxed about like rushing to max character.
Let me see. See if we can find something that talks about it eventually, I guess. But if somebody in chat knows as well. Yeah, somebody says, Mega Man says, I thought it was 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm trying to find where I saw this.
That would be interesting. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Release.
Yeah, but I think in that case, then if it was 2 weeks, like if there's any really good guilds like that are starting on fresh, even if fresh drops, I think in 2 weeks there'd at least be a few guilds that are ready to go right into Nax on the fresh servers too. Mm-hmm. Like they would definitely be able to level that quickly. Especially because like also you level quicker. They do the same thing again, like TBC leveling becomes faster. You also get mounts earlier. There's a lot of different things that make the 1 to 80 journey a lot quicker.
Content-based schedule for Wrath of the Lich King. Yeah, I found it. Pre-patch event 2 to 6 weeks long. Release raids unlock about a week after release.
Okay, a week.
Next, Ray, Messiah of Eternity, Obsidian Sanctum, and then Old Noir.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll take that.
You can get a link to that real quick?
Yeah.
Link it in Discord and chat, would you?
Mm-hmm.
So I have it for the notes. Nice.
Yeah. This is what it was. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, where did I see this?
Yeah. It's one of those things, and then you start questioning yourself. You're like, did I actually see this, or did somebody just suggest this?
Oh my God. Yeah. How did I miss this for news?
Yep. Yeah. Raids unlock about a week after release. So it's a lot of people who were like, because I play in a lot of speedrun guilds. A lot of people were kind of upset because they're just like the whole thing that like Progress did, where they were like practicing leveling soon as they could, like within like hours of the release, they were already down in Groll, right? They were getting those world firsts in. It's not going to be the same way. Now people are going to be gearing up. You're going to be waiting there. People are going to be like, whose server comes up first, who has the least lag, that's going to be world first, right? Yeah. That's the thing that people are upset about, is they're just like, whoever servers are the most stable and they can be ready for the raid and know the raid well enough, those people are going to clear it. So
yeah. But at the same time, I kind of feel like having it a week is better, just because like just think about the like what was it 8 hours at release of TBC that Faralita just wasn't playable on.
Yeah, it was not. It was not.
Yeah, so like,
oh God,
that sucks for world first type races. Like that just puts a bad taste in people's mouths. Like if just like something out of their control screws them that bad.
Yeah, especially like I think this is where they're appealing to a little bit more of the casual player, where they're like, hey, it's not this big rush. You don't need to, like, if your guild is trying to go hard, because a lot of guilds are very ambitious, right? Because I think ambitious guilds get a lot more recruits. You kind of have to just make the culture,
right.
You set the tone of the culture, right? And then you recruit people who fit that tone or want that. And then that becomes your guild's image. So there's a lot of people who are like pushing the boundaries and like, hey, we're going to raid that first weekend, right? People are going to burn themselves out. People are going to be playing. People are going to be upset that they have something come up and they can't actually like raid then. Right. So yeah, I think
it's a lot of pressure. I think TBC was a lot.
Oh, it was
of
terrible.
Like,
it was terrible. I was killing myself.
God, I need
it took years off my life. That's the most I had streamed ever. Like I go back and I check my analytics, and that was like by far the most I had streamed in a month. It was just constantly streaming my leveling, and I had to level a character that was a tank tank that weekend and try to get my rogue ready to do a lockout before Tuesday because it resets and you miss a lockout if you don't, right? So,
well,
God, it was so bad.
Like even in our sweaty casual guild, you know, like just to give like, I mean, like just we didn't actually tell you our guild's like kind of like, I mean, we're not like casual, but we're not hardcore. Like, but we're a guild that did, you know, kill pre-nerf Vash and KT within the first, like, you know, what was it, 4 to 5 weeks? Like, we're that type of guild. But we were moving over, and Mel and I were just like freaking out trying to level because, you know, we went from 40 man to 25 man, and like we're trying to make sure that we're, you know, leveled when everybody goes in for the first attempts, and we're just killing ourselves doing it, you know. And I think there's a lot of people that were doing that. I think it'll be a little bit better this time around. But also on the fresh realms, the gates of Encourage will be open. There'll be no Scarab Lords on those servers. Something interesting that was in this post too that I didn't know is, I guess if you still want Scarab Lord and you never did that, I guess there's still some realms in Season of Mastery that the gong can be rung but has not been rung. So if anybody's interested in that, you could probably find those servers.
Transfer, wait a long time, dead character, transfer back. Oh no, man.
Yeah, I don't know how, you know, much you would really want to do that, but if somebody wants to knock that off their bucket list, I guess you still can at the moment. Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.